we turn off those emotions, that no? How do we turn off that no box? Just imagine that your customer has a big no button right in the front of their head. They're just hitting it over and over again. How do you keep them from doing that, right? Time, greed, gain, logic, and fear, basically. I put greed in there, but it's really gain, logic, and fear. So you hit those 3 buttons, right? You have gain is primal. You want what you freaking want, right? Logic is not primal. That's human. It's also much less effective because you're talking to the wrong brain. But some people just need it. Like, how many of you guys bought a car in the last year? Guys, not girls. Guys bought a car last year. How many of you looked under the hood? What for? It's a computer. But seriously, you do though, right? But let me look under there and see what it looks like. Yeah, that's a really good one. You don't know anything, right? That's GR55 R14. Yeah, good tires. You don't know any. You really don't know any more, right? You don't know about any of that crap. But you feel like you have to logically justify the purchase in your mind, right? You feel like being more educated allows you to be more logical in your decision making. And that education process is a good way to stall time, by the way. For a car salesman, they know you want the car, right? They're just waiting to close. So the longer they can get you to look at the interior and test driving the car, like 1 in 100 people buy a car they don't test drive. 1 in 3 buy the car they drive. 1 in 3. Their job's not to sell you a car, their job is just to get you to drive one. Really, that's it. That's all they got to do. Same with you, right? But fear's a big deal. Well, there's another guy looking at this yellow Pinto. He may be back any time now. You better grab it now while it's hot. Right? Fear of missing out. Right? Still very big deal. So those are all controlled by brain chemicals in your head. And this may be totally irrelevant to you and you may not care, and I don't care because I'm going to tell you about it anyway because I think it's cool. You have a certain amount of brain chemicals in your brain, right? These brain chemicals are, like I showed here, they're the bath that your brain sits in, right? Your brain doesn't connect to anything, but it really floats inside your head. There's fluid in there, right? So that's when you have a brain injury, you largely die because your brain swells and pushes the fluid out, right? And your brain gets all super screwed up. When you have really bad accidents, when you're left bleeding for a long time, when you have sepsis or anything like that, your brain chemical bath gets off. A person can have a gut problem and be mentally disturbed for the rest of their life, right? I have an ex-wife like that. All kidding, no kidding, really. So anyway, but I have a lot of them, so it's bound to happen. But this bath your brain is setting in really matters, really determines how you receive things, right? So you have neurons and transmitters in your brain. This is a neuron, this is a transmitter, and they don't ever touch. They're like a spark plug. They fire this little spark of a thought between the transmitter and the receptor, right? And the secret is there has to be the right chemical mix in there for that spark to fire correctly. It'll fire little or it'll fire a lot, right? If you have more salt in your body, you typically think better because electricity conducts better with salt. If you go in a sterile bath, you can throw in a toaster, it won't hurt you. You put in 2 tablespoons of salt, you're dead as fried chicken, right? Because it conducts. But there are other chemicals in the brain that either retard or intensify the way that synapses fires, right? The first one is dopamine. The second is serotonin. The third is oxytocin. And the fourth is cortisol. And there's also endorphin, but endorphin I've never figured out how to really grab. Especially not from a distance. Endorphin releases when you do something super exciting. Jump off a building, snow ski down a mountain, things like that. But these are the things we can stimulate from a distance. Dopamine is gain, right? It's pleasure. So scientists have discovered recently that it's not